What is going on, guys? DBG here, and I'm currently on Twitch right now doing this. We are going to be counting down the top 75 players in MyTEAM history. We are going to be doing a top 10. Actually, let's just say if we can get 500 likes on this video, I will do a top 10 list tomorrow. This video is going to be going out on Saturday, so I'm not even going to be in the country. So if we don't hit the like goal, I'm just going to chill and enjoy my holiday. If we do hit the like goal, I will do a top 10 list. And we are going to be counting it down. This is not just the best players. These are going to be the most iconic players for their game. The best players for their respective game. And it's going to be basically how good they were. For example, we all play 2K21. This is the easy example I can give. We all know Invincible Bobo was better than Pink Diamond Bobo. But you better believe Pink Diamond Bobo is making the list over Invincible Bobo, because Pink Diamond Bobo was in every single team for months. For months, Pink Diamond Bobo was in every single team. So for that reason, he is going to be in there. And there are not really going to be any meme cards. So Yuta, Dean Wade are not in it. So, also, one card per player. So we're not going to see LeBron or Giannis in every single list. The top 10 list is not going to be 5 Giannis cards. But we're going to have the best, in my opinion, for each one. So, starting off with the honorable mentions. And I am Irish. There is a U in honorable. First up, didn't quite make the list, Ray Allen. A really good card in 2K20. Really good back in the day of 2K14. But he struggled. The reason why we're doing this on a PowerPoint presentation is because basically there are no real ways. There were no actual cards in the old 2K games. So we're going to be going over 2K13, 2K14, and honorable mentions just in this right here. Another player has been good is John Wall. His 2K15 card for Road to the Playoffs was unbelievable. Allen Houston is another player, just for his 2K21, just for that 2K21 Amethyst card. He was so close to making it. He really was, but he was only really good for a week until they patched the stick. Then another player who's always been good in 2K, it's Mitch Richmond. Mitch Richmond has been good since the very start. 2K13, everyone loved Mitch Richmond. Mitch Richmond has legitimately been good from day one. From the very, very start of 2K and 2K13, Mitch Richmond was incredible, lads. He was incredible. Another player, Dale Ellis. Dale Ellis has been a really good shooter. He had a really good Sapphire in 2K17. He had a really, really good Pink Diamond in 2K20, and then obviously this year is pretty good as well. After that, Del Curry. This guy was on my initial list. Del Curry and Derrick Rose were on my initial lists. For how good, Del Curry was so good back in the 2K13 days. He was so good. He was initially on it as a silver card in 2K13. The guy did not miss. He was a better shooter than Steph. Del Curry was God in those games. Absolutely incredible. And then Derrick Rose, because we had his 2K20 Pink Diamond, who was elite, his 2K21 Pink Diamond, who was elite. He's been a really good early game player for years. He had his card in 2K14 for getting to the first seed and road to the playoff, who was brilliant. He was brilliant, lads. That Derrick Rose card. And his 2K13 card, when he got brought off the injury list, was the best point guard in the game. And he had a brilliant 2K15 Onyx as well. Derrick Rose was so close to making this. Derrick Rose and Del Curry were the closest players. But I just didn't like his 2K15 Onyx card. It was iconic for a lot of people. I just didn't use point guards in 2K15. I played Darryl Dawkins a point guard. So for me, he's just not going to be there. Okay. So now we are on to NBA 2K13. The very first MyTEAM. And there are a lot of cards that do actually make... This is where we're now starting to make the top 75 list. The first player, Gold Andre Iguodala. If you guys don't know about Gold Andre Iguodala, man, you missed out. This guy was known as LeBron with better SIGs. He was LeBron with better SIGs. He could dunk. In 2K13, you could not block dunks. He had a better jump shot than LeBron. He dunked the ball better than LeBron. He was the best defensive player in the game. Andre Iguodala was God in 2K13. People use LeBron because he was LeBron. No, man. Iguodala was better. Iggy was so good. Then we have got the unstoppable gold Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon had an unstoppable up and under move in that game, and post fadeaways went in at a near 100% rate. The best Hakeem Olajuwon was the very first Hakeem Olajuwon. Why is there so much space between these? In NBA 2K13, he was the first elite center. But the center that everybody used was gold Dwight Howard. You could buy this guy with VC. 20,000 VC got you Dwight Howard. 20,000 VC in that game it was 30,000 VC for $10. But 20,000 VC was like less than $10. Every single player you came up against had gold Dwight Howard in their team. Gold Dwight Howard was crazy good. For people asking what ratings were golds, every player was a gold. So like gold Hakeem was a 98 overall. Gold, there was no promos or anything. Gold Dwight Howard was a 94 overall. This was Dwight Howard when he first went to LA, where he was seen as the best big man in basketball. Because you could actually go and buy Dwight Howard, he was crazy good. And people are saying golds are over 80. There was no ratings for golds. There were 85 overall silvers and 76 overall golds. It was random. Like, it was the weirdest thing ever. Up until 2K16, there were no actual ratings for tiers. Like, even in 2K15, we had gold cards that were 80 rated and silvers that were 85. With gold Dwight Howard, absolute demon in that game. The best center. And because he was auctionable, everyone ran him. After gold Dwight Howard, we got gold Allen Iverson. For no other reason than the fact that he was good and the Chris Smoove 1 million subscriber special. You know it's mad when Chris Smoove's 1 million subscriber special back then was a MyTEAM video and not a My Career video. And that's how big MyTEAM was that very first year. So, gold Allen Iverson, he was so tough to stop because he had this like weird fadeaway jumper and these Euro step 3-pointers that were like almost impossible to guard. Another player has been the honorable mentions is 2K13 Del Kerr. Or say not Del Kerr. Steve Kerr. Del Curry, obviously. But Steve Kerr has to be in there as well. And now we are on to the silver players. So, I was considering putting silver JaVale McGee in. But first up is silver Robert Pack. This guy dunked on everybody. He dunked on everyone. No matter who was in the way. Silver Robert Pack dunked on everybody. Because of the unblockable dunks, you press turbo and went in. He was like a slightly worse version of Zach LaVine that we had in NBA 2K15. This guy was that dude. He was legit, lads. He was absolutely legit. Silver Robert Pack was incredible. And last up, of course, the best player in the game. Silver Gerald Green. Because of the unblockable dunks, Gerald Green had like a 90. My nose just keeps itching, which is really, really annoying. Gerald Green had like a 99 dunk, like 99 vertical, and he had like an 85 3-pointer with speed. He had everything to be good in that game. He literally would drop 40, 50 points a game. Not even kidding. He could drop 40, 50 points a game, and you would be successful. Gerald Green belonged on the best team in the game in 2K13. He was unbelievable. And he was a silver because he wasn't really playing for the Pacers that year. All players' prices were based on how well they were playing in real life. So because he wasn't really getting much burn for the Pacers, he was the literal cheapest card you could buy in the game. Unbelievable player. Unbelievable. Okay, now we are on to 2K14, and there are only 3 players in here. And they're 3 of the greatest players of all time. First up, the best version of this guy ever. Gold LeBron James. And I'm standing by that. I'm standing by it. That gold LeBron James belongs on this list. This card, almost everybody had him. Was 99 overall in a game where the only players that were 99 overall were LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Yes, there was a diamond LeBron James, but nobody got the diamond LeBron James. Because the diamond LeBron James, you had to like pull certain players out of packs. Very few people had the diamond LeBron. But if you had gold LeBron James, from 2K13 he was already brilliant in 2K13. And in 2K14, he had came off his best ever season in 2012-13. Where he shot 40% from 3. He literally got like a 93 pointer. He had a 90-something dunk, a 99 layup. 90 speed, was the best defender in the game. Like, LeBron was God. Like, yeah, there was the Emerald LeBron, who was the exact same as the Gold LeBron when he went to the Cavs. Yeah, there was the Diamond LeBron, who was better, but nobody had him. Base Gold LeBron, 99 overall. Unreal. That was the best version of LeBron we've ever had. Then, Sapphire KD, the unlimited, the Road to the Playoffs reward. For getting into the second tier and Road to the Playoffs, you got a Sapphire KD. There was a Diamond Kevin Durant locker code, actually no, Diamond Kevin Durant was worse stats wise than Sapphire Kevin Durant. The only difference was that you could, badges back then were called signature skills, I think. But with Sapphires, you could only apply 3, which is like 3 signature skills. But you were able with Sapphire Kevin Durant, or say with his Diamond, you were able to put 5 on him. There was 6 skills. Okay, yeah. With Diamond, you were able to put 5 signature skills, which was huge. And back then, Sapphire just meant reward. Sapphire and Rubies just meant that they were reward cards. It didn't mean anything else back in those days. Gold cards, like LeBron Gold was a 99 overall. Sapphire Kevin Durant was a 96 overall. Like, they were insane. And this is back before badges. Those signature skills were unbelievable. This is the best Kevin Durant ever shot the ball in any game. And he was just insane. But then, the best player, bar none. And I had every Michael Jordan that year because I used to run with Michael Jordan at point, Michael Jordan at the 2, Michael Jordan at the 3, and my bench was Michael Jordan at point, Michael Jordan at the 2, Michael Jordan at 3, LeBron and KD are my power forwards, and I just like random guys at center. I used to run 6 Michael Jordans on my team. And the best version of Michael Jordan ever, is the 90-91 Gold Jordan from NBA 2K14. Back then, there was this. You could shoot fadeaway mid-range shots and they would go in at 100% rate. He had a 75 rated 3. That didn't miss. He was the fastest player in the game. He was borderline unblockable from dunks. His defense was incredible. I used every Michael Jordan and I used every Michael Jordan at the same time. The 95-96 Jordan, like this is back when players were based on their real life cards. So 1991 Jordan was the best athlete in the game. And he still had a usable 3-ball. The 80-89 Jordan was a little bit faster. Or 89-90 Jordan was a little bit faster. Or say 88-89. He was a little bit faster, a little better on defense, but he couldn't shoot at all. And then the 95-96 Jordan was a better shooter, better in the post, but was way slower. The 90-91 Jordan overall was the best player in that game. He was insane. And honestly, you could argue that Jordan was the best player in 2K13, 14, and 15. You could legitimately make that argument. So, now we are on to the games where we have we can see cards. So NBA 2K15. We are going to start off. For me, anyway, my favorite player in that game are these. Where are the pink diamonds? He was 96 overall, Paul George. I need to find, Paul George. 96 overall locker code. 88 steal. He had unbelievable defense. He was 6'9". You could play him at the 1. You could play him at the 2. You could play him anywhere. 1, 2, 3, or the 4. His rebounding was bad, but rebounding meant absolutely F all that year. He had athleticism. He could dunk. He could shoot from deep. He literally, 97 driving dunk back in those days, baseline cheese, dunked on everybody. Paul George was ridiculous. Still to this day, one of the best players I've ever used. There's a reason why I was so hyped on his card last year. PG was so good. Then, we are going to look at small forwards. I'm not sure what this guy's overall was, but this guy was the best player in 2K15. 98 overall, Carmelo Anthony. This is the best player in 2K15. And it was not even close. 94 lateral quickness. He had a 59 steal, which wasn't great. He had a jump shot that was basically unblockable. 96 speed, 92 quickness, which is like lateral quickness and also acceleration. Quickness was literally acceleration and lateral quickness put into one. And ironically enough, back in these days, speed and speed with ball were the same stats. So if your player had 90 speed, they would have 90 speed with ball. So like Will Chamberlain running point wasn't an uncommon occurrence. Melo dunked and everybody shot the lights out. He was unblockable. Melo was so good that year. Then we have got. We're gonna go rubies. Can I find Dunk the Funk? Where's Dunk the Funk? We have got Ruby, Darryl Dawkins. My point guard. 6'11", center. 99 speed, 99 lateral quickness, 99 acceleration, 99 speed with ball, 99 standing dunk, 99 driving dunk. He was my point guard. Because of the way baseline cheese worked in that game, you could just dominate. And you guys can see here, the dude was like 10,000 coins. And I get it was a 15% auction house tax, but 10,000 wasn't a lot back then. This was pre-power creep as well. This is pre... Like, everyone's like, oh, we've never had unrealistic cards. Man, we had this dude in 2K15. It's not like nowadays. But still, no one could guard him. Nobody could guard him. Darryl Dawkins at point guard was my guy. He was God. And then, for the sole reason that Richie won KOK with this guy, we gotta go with Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp was like, not quite as tall as Dawkins, but he was better overall. He could dribble a lot better. 99 lateral quickness, 99 speed, 99 quickness, and 99 standing driving dunk. If you guys don't know, this entire Dunk the Funk set, all it did was every single player in this set had a 99 speed, 99 quickness, 99 lateral quickness, 99 driving, and 99 standing dunk. Every single player in this set had that. The most OP set in the history of 2K. And it's not even close. The best set in the history of 2K. And then there was also the reward for this, which I'll go over a little bit later. But Sean Kemp was literally just like Dawkins, but a little bit better. A little more expensive as well. There was a Sapphire small forward who was probably the second best player in the game. Dr. J's 99 overall. The lock-in reward for the Dunk the Funk collection. And it wasn't even the lock-in reward. You just needed to get all your cards. And then you got them in. You didn't even need to lock them in. You could buy all the cards, get Dr. J, and then sell the cards again. That's what I did. That's what everyone did. Now, look at these stats. People say that we never had juiced up cards back in the day. Then what the hell is this? What the hell is this? 99 speed, 99 quickness, 99 vertical, 95 strength, 99 stamina, 99 hustle, 99 lateral quickness, 96 help defense, 90 on ball defensive IQ, 99 standing, driving dunk, driving layup, standing layup. 92 moving mid, 90 standing mid, 82 three-pointer, unbelievable release. 91 shot contest, which was a huge stat back then. Dr. J was, after Carmelo Anthony, in my opinion, Dr. J, in endgame, was the next best card in the game. But we have another Elite Sapphire card that came out that year. At 94 overall, Dominique Wilkins. If you guys don't remember, this guy was free. You needed to beat like 3 challenges. This guy was free and so easy to get. We had a Dominique with 94 speed, 99 all dunks. He was Dr. J light. He was literally a budget version of Dr. J. He had the old park base, which was, as far as I'm aware, it was like base 8. It was the old cheesy park release. He had an 82 3 ball, 94 speed, 93 quickness, 94 lateral quickness, 99 standing dunk, 99 driving layup. And he was completely free, so everybody had him. Like, it's the first comment, everybody and their mama got this card. Every single player in the game who played the game had this Dominique. I wish I had card art. I wish I could show card art. Every single player had Dominique in 2K15. It was crazy. Then, we got 2 more cards. We are going to look power forwards and Ruby. He was an 89 overall as far as I'm aware. No, he was a 90. LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge. This was the game where post fadeaways were like unguardable. And LaMarcus Aldridge had a 95 post fadeaway. And he had a way easier fadeaway to green than Dirk. This guy's stats don't look good. He did not miss 3-pointers, ever. And he did not miss fadeaways. This was the most overpowered player in the game. I'm not even kidding. He was the most OP big man in the game. Forget about these 99 speed guys. LaMarcus Aldridge Ruby was a guy that everyone ran till endgame. The guy was God. He was insane. Absolutely insane. Okay. Now the last player. You guys have all been waiting for wondering where this guy's going to come in. It took me a long time to scroll down to 71 overall. Thankfully, there are not a lot of cards here. If I've missed them, let me know. I think he was a 71. Was he? Or is he 74? No, I think he was 71. We're still scrolling. As you guys see here, some 72 overall bronzes. Like, there was weird ratings. 72 overall. The best player we have ever seen in a 2K game was Day 1 Zach LaVine. Day 1 Zach LaVine. Most overpowered card in the game. April 26th. Most overpowered card in the game. Dude is a silver young MJ. Like, this is endgame. We're getting comments like, dude is a silver young MJ. He has the dunk skills, better threes, and is 6'6". People in May are talking about that he just dunks on everybody. This guy literally, especially day one, they brought in a patch. They brought in a patch later on in the year. But I'm telling you, this guy dunked everything. He dunked absolutely everything. 79 standing three. He could hit wide open threes. 90 speed. 86 lateral. And his dunk, he had the best dunk in the game. 98 driving dunk with an unblockable dunk animation. You held square and he dunked every single time. Up until about February, this was the best player in the game. At the end of the game, he got worse because 2K patched the baseline cheese. But Zach LaVine was the best player in the game. Bar none. Bar none, he was the best player in the game. Then we were on to NBA 2K16, and there are really not that many. There are not that many guys here from 2K16. Stephen Curry is up first. He just didn't miss, did he? He just genuinely just didn't miss. Thank you, Colin, for the sub. Really appreciate it. Steph Curry didn't miss. 95 speed, 96 acceleration. 99 standing three. He had limitless range. The guy didn't miss. Straight up. The guy just didn't miss. He would shoot from the halfway line. He would shoot in his own half and he would hit shots. He was break the game Curry, but instead of lasting 1 day in rosters, he lasted the rest of the year. Then we are on to gold power forwards. And this is where the great Channing Frye comes in. This is where the best center in the game, the great Channing Frye. Only these amount of badges. You might think, oh, that's nothing. Dude had limitless range. Dude could shoot from literally half court. 98 standing shot 30. As well as that, his 61 block was a lie. He rebounded well. The guy was the best center in my team. 60 speed. Doesn't matter. This was the best center, and he was like 3K MT. Channing Frye was in nearly everybody's squad. The guy was just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous in that game. And then last up, this is probably a controversial one. I think this is because Derrick Rose had been so good. But I think this guy has to have a spot. Mainly because I just wanted to put more 2K16 guys in. Paul Millsap. He could do everything. And this is back before every card could do everything. Paul Millsap could do everything. He could shoot. He could defend. He could dribble. He could... he was an elite interior defender. He did everything. And this is before Jack of all trades were things. Paul Millsap was that guy. He really was. He really was that guy. Paul Millsap was in almost every squad. And he was the cheapest diamond in the game. This card was in so many people's squads in NBA 2K16. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. And now, we're on to NBA 2K17, lads. If people are saying where certain players are, they may or may not be on the list. And also, I completely forgot about DeMar DeRozan. Amethyst DeMar DeRozan was so good in 2K16 as well. But first up in 2K17 was the best ever version of Kobe we have had in Kobe Bryant Pink Diamond. Hot zones everywhere. He had 2 Hall of Fame badges, which was still quite a bit for back then. He actually got upgraded at some stage during the year, but he was ridiculous. He had basically 99 every stat in 2K17. If you got this guy, he was the overall collector level reward. If you got him, man, you just got a demon. You got a demon. One of the best players in the game. The closest Kobe has ever been to being the best player in the game. In a 2K game ever, and he probably was the best. Then, obviously, Charles Barkley. Was he the... Does that work eventually? Some of these 2K17 cards are glitched, by the way. Can't get in. But Charles Barkley, really, really good. Again, basically every single stat in the game was at 99. And it was the only time we've ever had Charles Barkley on my team. So, I think He deserves recognition just for that. So then at the diamond tier, I'm trying to think, do we have any other pink diamonds? We have one more pink diamond. Like these pink diamonds in general just were not the greatest cards in the world. We had Russell Westbrook pink diamond. Russell Westbrook was the easiest locker code to get. The guy came with 11 Hall of Fame badges. The badges include like mid-range, Deadeye. He had gold limitless range. He had 95 3-ball. The guy had everything. And this is back when fades were a thing. The guy had absolutely everything in game. He could shoot. He could handle. He could defend. He was brilliant. This is back when point guards, when it was like not an advantage not using point guard. And Westbrook, considering how many people had him, was unreal. So Russell Westbrook, an incredible player again for 2K17. There are a lot more 2K17s than 18s. That's all I'm gonna say. And now we are on to diamond cards. And these are going to be some interesting ones because I got opinions that a lot of people probably don't have with some of these. Actually, I forgot diamonds were 93 to 98. There's so many diamond cards in this game. Well, first up is T-Mac. The best player in NBA 2K17, bar none. One of the few players with limitless range. He was one of the few players with Hall of Fame limitless range, and this was the year where Hall of Fame limitless range was just a joke. He could dunk on everybody. He shot the ball at the best rate because he was in the Deep Shooters 2 collection. His movement was incredible, and unfortunately the page isn't loading. The guy was insane. The guy was absolutely insane. The best player in 2K17, and it was not even particularly close. Diamond T-Mac was so good. Then 96 overall. It didn't matter. Or then Nikola Jokic, 96 overall. This guy was God. So basically, 2K gave him Kobe base with the Jar Jeffries shot. Kobe base with that upper. Basically, the Jar Jeffries shot. He didn't miss. As well as that, 2K let him speed boost. And this is where if you had 86 ball handle and you momentum crossed, it was basically a guaranteed basket. He could speed boost as a center. He had half dimer. He used to run point guard for people. He used to be primary ball handler. He was like one of the first point centers ever. He was my center. And then my power forward was a really weird one. And I'll go over him later. But Jokic was ridiculous. However, there were two other point centers in this game that I'm going to have to talk about. First up, 96 overall. I just need to find him. Because I don't know what position he was in. Porzingis. There were two versions of Porzingis that were both elite. 2K17 is a disaster. It is a disaster of a... 2K17 on 2KMD Central is a disaster. It doesn't matter which version of Porzingis. Both of these. They were both played the exact same. They both needed a diamond shoe to get to ball handle. They both needed a diamond shoe to get 86 ball handling. But once they got 86 ball handling, they were the two best, arguably the two best players in the game. This one was around 100k, which is the one I had. The better one was again around 100k. In the end, at times they were around the same price. But they were both unbelievable cards. They both moved at an elite rate. They both shot the ball really, really well. They were both Kristaps 7'3". And they had the Slenderman build. And back then, the Slenderman build basically added an extra 2 inches to everybody's height. It was the best build in the game. So like Kristaps used to just be a bully. He was insanely good. He was insanely fast. And he could just destroy everybody. He could destroy everybody in that game. And then we've got the weird diamond center. And I don't think a lot of people use this guy, but he was potential. Like, I felt like this guy was the most effective center in the game, and it was Ilgauskas. So this is back before every center had like god tier speed. Like even that Porzingis, his speed was in like the high 60s, 70s, and he was still speed bursting by people. So Ilgauskas at center was a 7'3" giant. He was a 7'3" giant who could shoot, who didn't miss from the corners. 91 outside. Guy was the first ever giant shooter in my team. He was the first ever giant shooter. And again, another honorable mention, what I would have brought in was Amethyst Yao. Amethyst Yao was actually very, very good. It was just obviously there are better versions of Yao. Guys like Pete Maravich, you'll see them later on the list. But yeah, he was there. So we got 3 more players. First up is the best Ruby card we had seen in my team up to that point. And he was an 88 overall. Ruby Reggie Lewis. I wish these would work, but Reggie Lewis had like 90 speed, a 90-something mid-range shot. He had the best release in the game. He had the unbelievable dunk. Like, Reggie Lewis was my starting point guard up until the very end of the year, and he came out at the start of January. I remember I played JD crossover in like it was like a 5K versus 500K matchup, where he only ran through Tracy McGrady's 500K card, and I ran through Reggie Lewis. And I think I beat him by about 30, because he literally just went to me at the end of the game, and he's like, is Reggie Lewis really that much better than T-Mac? I was like, yep. He's 1,000 coins, one of the best players in the game throughout the whole year. What? 16K for Kendall Gill? 44K for Red? Oh yeah, I remember these guys were rare. Then we are going to go to the Amethyst shooting guard. And please tell me this loads. J.R. Smith. It's not loading. It's not loading. Unfortunately, 2K, I knew this was going to happen. 2K empty centrals, 2K17 pages just don't work. J.R. Smith was one of the few players in the game with Hall of Fame range extender. Or Hall of Fame limitless range. He could also dunk the ball at an elite rate. His speed was crazy. His defense was crazy. I mean, he was just peak J.R. Smith in my team. And J.R. Smith's one of those guys that's always going to be really good in 2K. But J.R. Smith was an Amethyst that was better than almost all the diamonds. Better than most of the pink diamonds as well, to be honest. And then this Harden would be in with honorable mention, but there is a Harden. Oh, I can do this, just get the pictures up. This J.R. Smith. He was ridiculous. He was absolutely ridiculous last. I give it 5 bits, by the way. Then we have got the last player, and it is an Emerald Center. It is an Emerald Center from 2K17. Thon Maker. So Thon Maker, the point god at center. He could handle the ball in elite rate. He was 7'1". He had the Slenderman player build. You give him a shoe, he could have 86 ball handling. His shot was unbelievable. His dunking was unbelievable. This guy was, again, he wasn't being ran in endgame, but dude came out in like February, and he was being ran till like October, November. He was, as you guys can see here, he was 20K. Like, he was 80, 90K at one stage. He was 80, 90K. He was so good. He was one of the best centers in the game. And then as an Emerald, he is more iconic, in my opinion, in that game than 2K19 Holy Trinity. None of the Holy Trinity rubies, by the way, made it for 2K19, surprisingly enough. 2 of them made it, but none of them for 2K19. So now we are on to NBA 2K18. Now we are on to NBA 2K18, where the first of the Holy Trinity of rubies from 2K19 make it in a game where he was more iconic, which was NBA 2K18, Jonathan Isaac. So this is back when, again, cards had hardly any badges. But he had 2 Hall of Fame badges. He had Hall of Fame defensive stopper. And he was 6'11". He had 93 upgrades, 95 on-ball defense IQ, 95 driving dunk, and a jump shot with good speed and acceleration and decent speed of ball. You better believe he was my point guard. Like, he was my point guard. If you did not have Giannis Antetokounmpo, Pink Diamond, you had to have Jonathan Isaac matching up to your opponent. You had to. If you did not have Giannis, you had to have Jonathan Isaac. Because Isaac was the only guy that could contain Giannis that wasn't Giannis himself. And he couldn't do it that good a job of it. I remember watching tournaments. Like, tournaments for money, where people were running this guy at the end of the game. Just because they needed him to guard Giannis. He was better in this game than he was in 2K19. I personally believe he was brilliant in 2K19. Again, part of, as I called him, the Holy Trinity of rubies of Jonathan Isaac, Mo Bamba, and Thon Maker. But he was not as good in this game. He was nowhere near as good in 2K19 as he was in 18. Guy was legitimately in the conversation for the best small forward, or a top 10 card in the game in 2K18. He was God. Then we are going to go with a diamond card. It's a diamond center who was out on, well, it depends on how much you played the game. For most people, you got him in like a month after release. For Killzamoy, you got him 3 days after release. It was the 95 overall Wes Unseld. This was the best, by far, domination award we had ever seen at that stage. Wes Unseld had 85 home shot 3. His release was ridiculously good. It was the same release as Jokic had the previous year. But he had a 95 driving dunk. He had a 95 contact dunk. 96 post fadeaway, 95 standing dunk. Unbelievably good defense. He had solid, really good speed and acceleration. He couldn't really dribble the ball. The guy was playing as a 2-guard in endgame. Nobody ever played this guy at center. He literally played as a 2-guard. There were guys in May using this day 1 card at the 2 and having so much success. Having so much So much success. This guy was one of the best guys we had ever seen in my team at that stage. Then we are on to an Emerald center. Dragon Bender, the point center of hell. I don't know what it was about this guy. 70 speed, 69 acceleration, 67 speed ball, 93 ball. This guy had like 100 speed in that game. He had 100 speed in that game. He was just dunking on everybody. This guy was used to be able to run, like, I used to run pick and rolls. Him as the primary ball handler. This guy was just so stupidly overpowered. And people didn't even realize. I remember I played YBC and I ran this Dragon Bender. And the Dragon had like 30. And this is when YBC was considered top 3 player in the world. Dragon at 30 and he didn't know what the hell to do when I was running him as my primary ball handler. Dragon Bender was ridiculous. And last up, I have to. I just have to. If you guys know, you know. If you know, you know. That's all I'm going to say. If you know, you know. James Harden. Please load. Where is he? If you know, you know. This guy right here. He was in every pack. I'm not even kidding. He was in every pack. There was like an hour where everybody who opened a pack got this James Harden. So he was suddenly like 40,000 MT for a while. He obviously went back to like 300k because he was one of the best cards in the game for a while. But like he was still like 40k MT. And he was the best card in the game by a mile at that stage. He had limitless range. He was brilliant. And this, you know, this card has to have been good and iconic for me to not put 2K14 James Harden on this list. So then we are on to NBA 2K19 players. We're going to go to NBA 2K19. We're on NBA 2K19. So there are a lot of 2K19 guys. We're going to very, very round it off. We are going to very much go through these very, very quickly. The base 11 bros. There are 2 guys that I'm going to give their own section to, but the base 11 bros. Diamond Danny Granger. Unbelievable. Came out early in the year. Opal James Worthy. At the time, a way better token reward than Wilt Chamberlain. Was the point guard of both teams in 250k. Opal Bob Pettit. A token what came a little bit later, was probably the best of all them. Could play a little bit in the post. Gave you something again a little bit different, but was brilliant. Amethyst Tom Gugliotta. Amethyst Tom Gugliotta was insanely good. Googs could genuinely... He came out in October. He was a giant. He was a giant guy that had the base 11, could move, could dunk, and he was insanely good. They were the base 11 bros. There were 2 guys that transcended the base 11 bros, though. And the first player to do that was Amethyst Hito Turkoglu. This guy was like 7,000 MT. Ignore every one of these stats. He had the best dribble moves in the game. He was 6'10". He was super, super fast. The guy didn't miss. Base 11. Had the normal 4 leaner. This was the best player. This was the best value card. You saw this guy in every single squad. This is the only card that normally, like 2K, if some cards are too OP, 2K will patch the game. 2K just took away his base 11. This guy was the best card in the game for so long that 2K just said, you know what? He's actually too good. Let's just take away his base 11. And they did eventually. But because he is the only player that was so OP in 2K's history that they've had to nerf them, Hito Turkoglu belongs on this list. He belongs on this list. And well, if we're going top 10, you're probably going to see him there. But, in my opinion, the best player in NBA 2K19 was the last of the quote-unquote base 11 bros, but I got to just talk about these individually. Andrei Kirilenko. AK had all the same movements as Hito. The problem was he was a lot harder to get because you need to collect 1,000 cards, and doing that back then was difficult. 97 lateral, 95 steal, 95 block, 93 3 ball. Like, he was the best defender in the game, the best shooter in the game. He had base 11. He had the normal 4 leaner. This guy was God. Like, thankfully, I got this card when he came out. I never got this one. People had this card on day 2. Day 2, there were people with this card. This guy was God up until 2K20 came out. Back in these days, a guy who came out on launch day could still be God. And that was how good Andrei Kirilenko was. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so now we are going to go with we're going to go diamond centers, or say we're going to opal centers. And like, I got to put in the very first Galaxy opal in the game, Will Chamberlain. I remember my very first tier list, he was in S tier. If you guys don't remember when, he was added on release. I made my very first tier list. Ambush was the first person to get this card. I made my very first tier list video in May. This guy was in A tier in July. He came out on launch. 17 half badges on launch. Dunked everything. Unbelievable on defense. Could hit the open three. Back then with an 70 or with a 65-3. Everybody who knew it his release, we saw it in 250k. Everyone was shooting threes with Wilt. He was the difference. He was the difference between Skip to Myalu and turn up defense. He was the difference in that 250. This guy, without question, belongs to spot on the most iconic. So then we have got the debate for the two best cards in this game at endgame. Shaquille O'Neal. And was he a small forward? And Giannis Antetokounmpo. Shaquille O'Neal, 7'1", could shoot the three ball, and with a shoe could speed boost. He had some of the best dribble sigs in the game. 89 out quickness, 99 on ball defense. This card was the beginning of the end. This guy was, again, if you guys don't remember, he was Ty's point guard when Ty won a huge tournament against Splash. He was Ty's point guard. And now we have an error code for the best, probably the best card in that game. Unfortunately. But Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you guys got Giannis Antetokounmpo, you guys just know how good he was. Like that, first of all, that bet Shaquille O'Neal was so good that Kyrie was going for over $1 million. No question about it, Giannis Antetokounmpo was, because he came out for people were getting him in March. This guy had 99 every single stat except a 95 3 ball. With the Giannis crossover, the Giannis Euro step dunk. Man, this card was so good that people thought Ty wasn't even good at 2K at the time because he just ran everything through Giannis. Giannis was... You can't even explain how good Giannis was in this game. You cannot even explain how good he was. And funnily enough, when I have my top 10 list ready to go if needed, 3 of the top 10 are from NBA 2K19. 3 of the top 10 are from NBA 2K19. And we've got an honorable one of our honorable mentions from 2K19. These guys were just gods. So now we're on to NBA 2K20. A lot of 2K20 cards. And we're going to have to go through these quickly because we have 43 minutes at this. Dino Raja. 92 speed, 92 acceleration, 79 3 ball. And this was the stage where this card came out on the 4th of April. On April the 1st, the best center in the game was Wilt. And 3 days later, this guy came out and he was 20,000 MT. I bought him for 20k because nobody realized how good he was. He had half quick first step. He could dribble. He had an 85 lateral quickness, 80 steal, 92 block. And his wingspan was 7'11". He had an 85 driving dunk. 86 ball handle for a center at that time was just a joke. Dino was the best center in the game, bar none, including the 3-point Shaq at that stage. And he was 20,000 MT. We all know that Dino Raja was just ridiculous. Then we have got... This guy has to be on the list. I'm sorry, this guy has to be on the list. The best player for 3 days. Tony Parker. The best player for 3 days. Tony Parker had his own release, which was basically a 98 alternative that year. He had 99 speed, 99 acceleration, 95 3 ball. He was the best 300 in the game. Half range extender with Parker base. He also had like quick first step. When the behind the back was in the game, everything was like based around the 3 hunting. So many people locked in their 750 tokens for this guy. And 3 days after this card came out, the behind the back was patched. And he wasn't any good. He was useless. He went from being the best player in the game to borderline useless in 3 days. Like, I've never seen something like that happen to a card, but he has to make this list just for iconic. Because so many people locked in their tokens for him. Then, of course, everybody knows. Everybody knows. I actually forgot one player in NBA 2K19. I forgot. Galaxy Opal David Robinson from 2K19 is in there. Galaxy Opal David Robinson from 2K19 is on that list, if you guys are wondering. But Mirasan, the fastest player in the history of my team. 25 speed Mirasan. So what happened in 2K20 was the game launched at a snail's pace. Everybody hated the fact that the game played so slow. So 2K changed something with the patches and how players moved. And it was a little bit like what they did in 2K21. But basically, what they did in their patch was they gave every single player the same speed. But the only thing that separated players were height. So the taller a player was, the speed stat didn't matter for like the first 2 weeks of NBA 2K20. It didn't matter because taller players were faster than shorter players. The speed stat didn't matter. A player with 25 speed that was 6 foot tall and a player with 99 speed that was 6 foot tall moved at the same speed. And same with 7'7" players. And because he was 7'7" at the start of the year, he was the fastest player in the game. This guy was the primary ball handler for everybody. 25 ladder wings, a lie. You would run deep hash with this guy, and then you would post hook, because post hooks were unguardable. This guy was the most unstoppable force we may have ever seen at launch. Outside of maybe stick shooting on Houston, but very few people use that. Every game was against fucking Mirasan. And it was the same thing. Someone would run deep hash and post hook you. You could not stop it. It was just ridiculous. Then we have got, from February, we have got Pink Diamond Kawhi Leonard. So this Kawhi Leonard was a lot better than this Kawhi Leonard who came a little bit before it. So, Kawhi Leonard, 96 speed, 95 acceleration, 97 3 ball, 98 lower quickness, 95 driving dunk. This guy came out on All-Star. He was the All-Star MVP card. And people still use this card in endgame. He had half showtime, which didn't really matter that year. But he had half quick draw, half range extender. He had half quick for a step. He had all the defensive badges. His stats were ridiculous. At small forward, he was crazy. But, I just want to tell you guys one thing that separated him. Pro 8. The Pro 8 moving crossover. The most overpowered thing we have ever seen in a MyTEAM game. Tween. That is how the game was played. Which is why we also have got Rudy Gay in this list. His card was God as well. He had basically 99 every stat. Basically every Hall of Fame badge. And he also had the magic stat that was the Pro A Tween. But the best Pro A Tween player in all of NBA 2K20 was NBA is back, Ben Simmons. He was my favorite player. I had Kareem. He was my favorite player in all of 2K. 95 3 ball. He had 99 every stat. Every card in this set had 99 every stat. His release got way better with half quick draw. And he had the tween. Dribble style didn't matter when you could tween. But you might think, oh, these guys were all really expensive or they were lock-in cards. What the hell was going to happen? What happens to the budget players? You see, the budget players, you bought Amethyst Isaac Bonga, where you got an 89 3-pointer, a really good release in set shot 14, and he could tween. Pro A tween. Gold range, gold quick draw, half clamps. 2 game with half clamps, half pickpocket, in a game where clamps mattered. Half floor general, 89 steal, 92 lower quickness. You could literally use this guy in endgame and he could survive. And he came out, he got on the 29th of March. The only reason I remember that is because there's a gigantic hole in my ceiling up here. You guys can see it there. There's a gigantic hole in my ceiling. And that ceiling fell in the day of these packs. That's the only reason I remember that, roughly when that was. So, that is what we have for... Is that the tween team done? Yeah, that's the tween team done. Then we have got Eddie Curry. Don't worry, lads. We're coming towards the end of it. Eddie freaking Curry, and it was this version of Curry. The best center in the game at the time. He was better than Dino. He had base 38 on quick, which was the best. Or on, with goal quick draw, which is the best. He could kind of dribble. But he literally, and this is back with the flick down quick stop. He had probably the best release in the game. 95 driving dunk, 85 lateral quickness, 90 help defense, 98 standing dunk. And, yeah, just unbelievable everything. 92 speed for a center. He was absolutely insane, lads. So, yeah, Eddie freaking Curry is going to be in there. And the fact is that this card was so good that Eddie Curry randomly messaged me on Instagram. I think he said something along lines of like, oh yeah, thanks for saying I'm the best player in the game. My kids think I'm cool now. Something along those lines he said that. I was like, oh, this is so funny. Eddie Curry's a really nice guy. He is genuinely a really nice guy. Then we have got Campus Legends Magic Johnson. Pro 3 behind the back. He got an Evo very early as well. And the Evo gave him like half range extender. But he had the Pro 3 behind the back. In the deep hash era, this guy was God. This guy was absolutely God in the deep hash era of that game. He really was. So then, we had Diamond Lamar Odom. Base 11. But this guy was like 3,000 MT at the end of the year and people were still using him. He had like over 80 and everything. His stats were all around brilliant. He had like every single gold badge that you needed on a card. He was so nice. And dude had all his base 11, same difference. He had the Pro 5 behind the back. He was insanely good. Then, after him, we have got Opal LaMelo. I have to put one of these next cards in because they were so iconic. This set was so iconic because it was the very first time 2K put guys that had not yet played an NBA game into the game. It was the very first time they put in a draft set of any kind into the game. Obviously, we had the draft set last year as well, but this is the very first time. And this LaMelo was probably the most iconic player. He was the most iconic. Was he the best? No, but he was the most iconic. He had a tween of Pro 2, which is not quite Pro 8, but still very good. He had the best behind the back of the game. He had base 38, which was so chicken. 97 steal, perfect stats, and was a 6'8" point guard. LaMelo Ball was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. But the best player in that set was Opal James Wiseman. He was Opal James Wiseman. The guy could play center. Not only that, he had the normal 3 tween. Normal 3 was a tween as well. He was tweening up and down the floor. The Bill Walton tween, which was crazy. And the only problem with him was that he couldn't shoot from the corners. Like, he didn't miss. The only problem was that he stepped in from the corners. That was his only problem. The only problem with James Wiseman. After James Wiseman, we are going to go with Glenn. We got Glenn Rice, or Glenn Dice, as happens when you translate his name from English to Korean, then back to English. 95 speed, 95 status, 93 3 ball. Dude had weight base. He was the 98 crew. Perfect stats and badges. Ridiculous. Base 98 was the best release in that game. But the guy that summarized how OP that base was this card right here. Prime Series 2 Dwayne Wade. People had him at the very start. People got him early. And man, he was everyone's point guard for so long. He was... Forget about it. Like, obviously this Wade was better here. This Wade was the exact same. This one here. But I mean, this guy here, 96 lateral, 95 driving dunk. He didn't have pick dodger, which is really annoying. But he had like half quick first step, half kneel threader, half floor general, half downhill, half quick draw. He only had goal range, but it did not matter. As well as that, the dude could play point guard. He was almost everybody's starting point guard. Dwayne Wade was so good. He was so good. And this is the best version of Dwayne Wade we've ever seen in a MyTEAM game. Then, last up, obviously, we know these guys have to be here. Yao Ming. Because Yao Ming came out on the 24th of July instead of the 6th of June when Kareem came out, I will say I think Kareem was way more iconic because you had 2 months of using Kareem with no alternative, whereas nobody played this game past about the 15th of August, so we didn't even have a month of using Yao. But Yao was the best. Yao literally just glitched around the place. People didn't even realize how to use him. But he had every half badge, goat Yao. You could dribble glitch with Yao. His jumper was good. Yao could curry slide. Yao was just God. And then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This guy for his time was the best card we had ever seen. He was the best card we had ever seen. He had a dribble glitch, Giannis behind the back. He had base 21. Just God. Absolute, just the best. The best player we'd ever seen. 62 Hall of Fames. There's a reason why Rashard Lewis was 2.5 million MT. So now we are on to NBA 2K21. We are on to... Screw it. I'll just go on to NBA 2K22 first. And the only player that I'm going to put in is because I want to put in one player this year. And I'm going to put in Dikembe Mutombo. Basically, because there's no versions of Dikembe that are good enough. Any other player that's really good this year has had a better card in previous years. I just think for what Dikembe is, the fact that he came out 1 week after launch. 1 week after launch, we got a center who could kind of clamp on the perimeter, shoot the lights out, and was 7'2". 1 week after launch. And also, Dikembe didn't have any other good cards. Like, obviously, like Kevin Durant, all those guys have already been on the list. But now we're into 2K21. We're into the last game. The last game. First up, Opal Antoine Jameson, the Chicken Man, Exum base player, the domination reward. Only goal range extender, 86 lateral, goal quick first step. It didn't matter. This dude did not miss. Dante Exum on quick, he could kind of dribble. He didn't miss. It didn't even matter because he didn't miss ever. He caught the ball, it went in. As the great, not Lil Yachty, the other person on the song said, ball just like DeRozan. When I shoot it, it goes in. That probably should have been a line from Antoine Jameson. My God, I kind of tried to set up a joke, realized in my head that it wasn't going to go well, and just plowed through with it. Not good. Then, after Jameson, some people are going to be happy. Hondo. I mean, Hondo has to be in here. Hondo was one of the most ridiculous players we'd seen at that stage. Hondo could dribble. He had 98 on quick. On current gen, his guy was the best card in the game for like 3 months. Anyone saying skill god players, like, no, it's literally this card was like, if you were a 3 hunter on current gen, he was the best. He was not that good on next gen. He was usable. He was decent on next gen. He was not that good. 98 on quick was not it on next gen. But on current gen, and if you were a 3 hunter, this guy was the best. He was the best because, again, he got gold showtime. He could dunk the ball really well. He probably was just the best in general if you were on next gen. If you were on current gen. But next gen, he was not it. He was not it at all. Then we have got Blake Griffin Pink Diamond. The point center. This guy started it all. This guy started it all. Unbelievable dribble sigs, 86 ball or 83 ball handling. He had quick. You would give him quick first step, so you couldn't aim quick first step. He could get clamps. He shot the ball really well because they sped up Blake Griffin's release. The guy was ridiculous. The guy was absolutely ridiculous, and a deserved spot on this list. Then we got Diamond John Stockton, the guy who came out on the 25th of September. He was basically last year's... You know, imagine Isaiah Thomas this year. Same card. The same card, except there were not nearly as many. Not nearly as many guys. And lads, Basketball John was that dude. Like, this year there are like 5 or 6 unbelievably good. 5 or 6 unbelievably good point guards. Good point guards. So... because there are a lot of ridiculously good point guards in the game, some guys have just kind of gone under the radar. Because there are a lot of unbelievably good ones, you might say Isaiah Thomas is not as good. But it's like, imagine Isaiah Thomas if none of the good point guards existed. That is what John Stockton would be. And I'm just going to say it right now, lads. Basketball John. Basketball John is one of the most iconic players from all of NBA 2K21. So, Basketball John is in there. We've only got a few to go. Then, the Vault Bros. The Vault Bros. Terry Dishinger's Pink Diamond card. My God, lads, this guy was fake. This guy was fake. 93 speed, 93 acceleration, 93 three-pointer, 95 driving, 94 lateral quickness, 80 block, This guy was fake. He could curry slide. He had quick dribble style. This guy was ridiculous on both gens. The only problem with him, and he had really pace and quick. The only problem with him is that he just didn't exist for some people. It took me 900 games to splash 2,500. This guy was ridiculous. And then we had Ferry. Ferry was my starting small forward until literally my last account I ever played. If you guys are wondering why am I saying that Ferry, like, why was he still my starting point guard? If you guys don't know, this year Danny Ferry had copied and pasted stats. Like, I get it, there were a difference in badges, but 2K literally copied and pasted the stats from 2 Danny Ferries. It's the first time they've ever done it. It's the first time they'd ever done it and copy and pasted a stat. I actually got Ferry in like 20 games. Thankfully, I deserved them after how long it took me to get Terry Dishinger. But Danny Ferry, base 98 on very quick. Base 8 on very quick was good. Base 8 on quick or lower was terrible. He had quick dribble style. He had the Pro 3 behind the back. He could curry slide on next gen. He was good on current gen. He was the best player in the game on next gen for quite a while. Then we have got Pink Eyes Luka. Pink Eyes Luka. 6'7" point guard with excellent base, could curry slide, had a 95 speed and a 90 driving dunk. He was the beginning of the end. Luka Doncic was the beginning of the end. All I'm going to say is that he was the beginning of the end. The pink eyes Luka Doncic. And then you knew if you came up against this guy, if you came up against Luka Opal and he showed up with a headband, it was just somebody using the quantum Luka and they didn't really have the real Luka. Thank you, Moritz, for the sub. Really appreciate it. But yeah, Luka Doncic was so good. He was so good. And he was the beginning of the end for point guards. This guy, you could have used this guy in July and he was usable, and he came out 19th of February. Okay, so then we're gonna go Bull. And it's gonna be Bull Pink Diamond. Because nobody had this card because he was being gatekept by Michael Porter Jr. But everybody had the Pink Diamond because at some stage he was 20,000 MT. Half range extender, could curry slide on next gen. Brook Lopez base on very quick, 98 3 ball, 89 speed, 89 acceleration. Because the Hall players move faster on next gen, he moved at a lightning pace. And also because of the speed burst on current gen, he moved at lightning speed. Gold clamps, gold hard crusher, gold interceptor. Half rebound chaser, half quick first step. And dude was 7'2" with a 7'7" wingspan. 92 3 ball, and 85 driving dunk. Stats wise, you were looking him versus Porzingis. You would think, oh, no way, Porzingis should be better. But no, I'm telling you. The way Bull moved, and he came out on the 23rd of April, it was a joke. It was an absolute joke. Thank you, Adeline, for gifting the 5 subs. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So now, we are down to our last 3 players. And I'm putting Sean Bradley in this. I'm putting Sean Bradley on this list. 85 speed, 85 acceleration, 96 3 ball, 85 driving dunk, 90 lateral quickness, 82 steal. And oh, dude had a half range extender, was 7'6" and could curry slide with shifty dribble style. He was a 7'6" curry sliding dude with shifty dribble style who could shoot from deep with Brook Lopez base. Sean Bradley was ridiculous. He was ridiculous. But he was not the best giant. He was not the best giant. We'll go over them later because I'll finish it off with my 2 favorite giants. And we got Pete Maravich. We got Pistol Pete Maravich, the Hondo of next gen. Whereas current gen guys had Hondo, next gen guys had Pete Maravich. Ray Allen base on quick, Hall of Fame blinders. 96 speed, 96 acceleration. He could dunk if needed. Unbelievable lateral quickness. 92 steal, 97 pass perception. Half clamps. Hard crusher, interceptor, intimidator, lightning reflex, pick dodger. He was the point guard of choice for next gen guys up until May. He had about a good month, 2 months where he was, thank you Josh for the sub as well, where he was the best next gen point guard. So if I'm putting in Hondo, who was ass on next gen, onto this list, I'm putting in Pete Maravich, who was not very good on current gen. Pistol Pete belongs on the list. And now, we have got 2 last guys. 2 more players. First up, this guy was my favorite, by the way. Sim Vular. 87 speed, 87 acceleration, 94 3 ball, 96 post moves, 88 lateral. Like, it takes a good Sim Vular card for me not to use the bronze from 2K16. But half range extender, half quick first step. He was 7'5" with a long wingspan. He had Larry Bird base. He had Pro 2, which means he could side to side. He had shifty dribble style. He had the Pro 3 behind the back. And he was Sim Vular. This guy was unreal. He was unguardable. 87 speed because he was 7'5", felt like a 99. And last up, Invincible Taco Fall. Invincible Taco. No hot zones, which was a bit of a problem if you were on current gen. But if you were on next gen, you greened. 99 every stat. He could side to side Pro 2. Shifty dribble style. Very quick release timing. Base 47, which was chicken. Pro 3 behind the back. Taco and Simvular were the... Taco, Simvular, and Bradley were the meta. In endgame, that is all people ran with. People genuinely ran with giants. Taco, Sim, and to an extent Sean Bradley were most people's primary ball handlers. Whether it be speed burst in 2K21 or whether it be because taller players just move faster on next gen because of a flaw in game mechanics, in the coding. Because of a huge flaw in the game mechanics. Yeah. Taco belongs here. So that is the video, lads. We have been on stream recording for over 1 hour. We've been on for over 1 hour now. We are now finished with this. There's a reason why I didn't have much time to make this video over the last week, but it will be going up on Saturday, which is tomorrow for you guys that are watching in stream. Go follow me on Twitch if you are watching this on YouTube. As well as that, we are going to, if we can get 500 likes on this on Saturday, I will do a top 10 cards list overall on Sunday. So now that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.